are listening to Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse. This is episode number 10. Today we will be talking about Animal Kingdom Lodge and also the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival 2018, but specifically the Festival Center.
Everything Disney in and out of the house. Two grown-ups and a mouse.
Hi there, I'm AJ.
I'm Andrew.
And you are listening to Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse. We appreciate you being here.
We do.
If you've subscribed, thank you.
And if you haven't, please subscribe.
Exactly. And you can find us at twogrownupsandamouse.com or on your favorite podcast system. However,
They probably already found us if they're listening.
If they're listening, I think they did find us.
I think so.
Pretty cool. We are also on social media.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
See, now you almost forgot it. I forgot it last time. You forgot it this time.
Well,
we're forgetful.
It's a podcast, but it's video, but we're there.
But it's an option.
Yeah.
But enough about that. I think we can get into the show. So let's talk about Animal Kingdom Lodge. We went there Labor Day weekend.
We did.
It was a very last-minute decision.
That's putting it mildly.
I was just going to say, keyword, very. So I found out that they were releasing a Haunted Mansion Disney Dooney on the Friday of Labor Day weekend.
Right.
And I found that out on Thursday.
Thursday night.
Yeah, exactly. I was in Facebook. I saw it. So I said to you, let's drive up, go to Disney Springs, because
right.
I figured they would almost definitely have the bags at Disney Springs. I said we might need to stop at Magic Kingdom, and because of the Food and Wine Festival, I want to go to Epcot.
Right.
So once I started saying, I didn't just want to go up there and go to a store, now I want to go to 3 places, you said, maybe we should look for a resort to stay at.
Well, it wasn't even that. I started looking because I knew it was going to be a busy day. I mean, we did do the one day hit all parks trip once.
That was about 2 or 3 years ago, whenever the Starbucks You Are Here mug started coming out.
Right.
And they had the little mug ornaments, and I wanted to make sure that I got all the ornaments. So whatever year that was that those came out, that's
right.
when the trip was.
But there we had a very specific purpose for every park. So it was drive up, park the car, walk straight to Starbucks, get the mug, walk out of the park, go to the next place. Here we're talking about, we're going to go, first we're going to Disney Springs to hunt for a purse. We don't know which store it's going to be at. I would know which store it would be at, but still, Disney Springs isn't small. But there's a couple stores where it could be at. And then if you don't find it, then we have to go to Magic Kingdom. There's only one place, and then Epcot. And then since it was first weekend of Food and Wine, we might as well at least, walk around, take a peek, see what's going on. So that's what led to, hey, I wonder if there's any hotels.
You found one.
I did.
For $4,000.
At the Four Seasons. That was the cheap room that was available too. There was the suite, but it was 8. And I decided that would be a little extravagant, so.
We didn't stay at the Four Seasons.
No. We didn't spend $4,000 on a room.
If I'm going to spend $4,000 on a room, it's going to be a cabin on a cruise, a Disney cruise.
Right, exactly.
No, but we did find Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yep.
And it was a unique situation.
Right.
Because we looked, and when we looked for one night, just Saturday night, it didn't even populate in the search.
Right.
There
was only like 4 hotels that showed up if we searched for just Saturday night, and they were all premium hotels or deluxe hotels, and they were all they were deluxe or vacation club, like 1 bedrooms or expensive stuff.
Yeah, they weren't cheap.
No.
But then when we put in Friday night and Saturday night, Animal Kingdom Lodge came up.
Right.
And it was a really reasonable rate.
Yeah.
In our opinion, based on what the typical rack rate is for that resort.
No, it was probably 40% off compared to what we would normally see as a, Florida resident or pass holder rate or whatever.
Right. So it was a good rate. And we said, you know what? We haven't stayed here in a long time.
Right.
We can go see if there are any changes. It's a comfortable resort. So we went ahead and booked it Friday morning to arrive Friday night.
Right.
So it really was a last minute decision. By doing that, we did get enough time to go to Disney Springs that evening.
Right.
We snuck out of work a drop early, not too early. drove straight there, went straight to Disney Springs. So we did have enough time to explore Disney Springs.
Right.
But the benefit was that when we went to bed that evening, we woke up the next morning and we were already there. Instead of waking up Saturday morning, still having to get dressed, get in the car, drive over there, stop for lunch. And we probably, because we're not early morning people, had we done that, we probably would not have gotten there until 1, probably 2 in the afternoon.
Right. That's our typical time frame.
Right. Because for us, we'd rather sleep in and feel well rested than rush to get up there just to get a couple extra hours.
Right. And then we wouldn't, but obviously we wouldn't come home early, but it's still nicer when you wake up and you're there. I mean, that's
right. It definitely gave us a few extra hours there, and we didn't feel rushed or anything. So it was nice. We did stay in Jumbo House, which is the main Animal Kingdom Lodge building. And do you know who designed Jumbo House?
I do. His name is Peter Dominic, and he also designed the Wilderness Lodge.
They do look very similar.
They do, especially the whole foyer area and stuff. It's brother and sister kind of thing.
Right. We talked about that with the Disney Cruise Line cruise ships, how the Disney Dream and the Fantasy are sisters and the Wonder and the Magic are sisters because they're matching. Yes, you could almost say the same thing about Wilderness Lodge and Animal Kingdom Lodge. Right. They each have their own essence. Oh, no,
they're when you look at them side by side, they are very different, but you do see all the similarities. More the, what a quote unquote high level styling, that main foyer area with its, the ceiling is way, way up in the air and you can see the exposed floors above you. But the theming is totally different. One obviously is more African safari hotelish, and then the other one is obviously more rustic wilderness, Western U.S. kind of look.
Right. And we've said this before, I believe, but if you ever go up to the Walt Disney World area, even if you're not staying on property, you really should check out the different resorts if you get a chance to, because they all have their own feel, and you can go there, you can eat, you can go there, you can shop, you can go there, you can look around, especially around the holidays is a really great time to go explore because they probably will be decorated. I say probably because each resort has a different level.
Well, there's obviously the ones that are the famous ones is Contemporary, Grand Floridian, Yacht and Beach Club. They do the special gingerbread stuff. All the other ones will have trees. They'll have their own decorations.
Doesn't each resort have at least one tree?
Yes.
Right. And of course, I'm Jewish. Mm-hmm. So they do put out other decorations. It's not solely Christmas decorations, which I always appreciate. I like when they come out with merchandise that's holiday.
Right.
That's why I used to have a small collection of snowmen, because that's winter and not Christmas and not Hanukkah. It's just holiday, which is nice. So, I mean, whether you're celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, something else, it's still worthwhile to go look at all these different decorations. And,
all of it is quite amazing, really, when you, even you've never been impressed by the gingerbread house just because you saw kind of how it was made, but it's still...
Yeah, it's made out of wood.
Well, it's gingerbread on wood, because gingerbread by itself wouldn't support a 2-story house, but yeah, it's still a lot of gingerbread and a lot of work to put it together.
You know what? In a future, not too far future, because the holidays will be upon us sooner than we think, we should go into detail about the different holiday decorations that they have at the different resorts. We can go into more detail, but we'll get back to Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah, we should go back to there.
Yeah, let's go back to Animal Kingdom Lodge. Do you know how tall it is?
I do. It is 6 stories.
970 rooms.
That sounds like a lot, but honestly, it's, this is Disney.
Do you know how much area it covers?
Well, it says 30 acres.
That's a lot of acres.
Well, they do have 3 savannas, so that have that are separate from the Animal Kingdom Park. So this kind of goes back to your thing of go visit the hotels, because there's a lot to do
There is a lot to do, especially at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I mean, It is a great resort to visit because they do have viewing areas for those savannas.
Yep.
You can get a room and you can have a parking lot view or you can have a savanna view.
Right.
Now, the savanna view, yes, you could wake up and go out on your balcony and be very close to those animals
Sure.
in the savanna. You could see zebras, giraffes, gazelles, and there are other animals that live on the savanna.
Right.
But let's say that you're staying in Animal Kingdom Lodge and you're in the parking lot view or the pool view, or you're not staying there and you just go to visit.
Sure.
You could go at night. They do have night vision goggles available.
Right.
It's free, and you can go watch the animals outside.
We have done that way back when. But yeah, you walk out to that patio that's in the back. You walk out the door and then you go down all the stairs, and there'll be a cast member there with night vision goggles and a good and an explanation of what you're looking at or what to look for. I guess is probably a better way to put it, since it is at night. So they'll tell you which way the animals are and what you're looking at and what the animal does and why it's special at night and all those things. So,
and tied into the theming of the resort being that it is the African theme, they do have African storytelling outside in the evenings.
Right. Because there's a big fire pit there.
Right. So there's a couple included amenities that come with the resort, and even if you were not staying at the resort, you may be able to experience some of these items.
Right.
Now, do you know that you're not allowed to bring balloons inside of that resort?
Yep. They will take them away from you and give them to you when you leave. And it's also one of the places that has your favorite, paper straws.
Well, actually, most of the resorts, they're stopping giving...
Well, now they are.
The straws at the restaurants,
right,
unless you ask for them, and then you get a paper one.
Right. That's a new thing by Disney for as an environmental concern. But Animal Kingdom Lodge was always paper straws because they're worried about you throwing one of your straws out on the savannah.
So is Animal Kingdom the park?
Correct.
Is the same way. So, side note, if you're like me and you do not like the flavor of paper straws, I know it's not a strong flavor, but you can taste it. You can buy glass straws on Amazon.
Yeah.
I may or may not have done that.
May or may not have.
And brushes to clean the inside of the straws, which are very important because
right,
if you're going to be reusing a straw, you want to make sure that it is clean. Mm-hmm. You can go shopping at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yep.
It's not one of the... It's big in size, but it doesn't have huge selection because it is just the one store.
Well, it's kind of... I always thought it was... And it may be just me, but it's always felt a little different. There's a lot more custom African handmade things there. You know, from clothes to artwork to sculptures and all that other stuff. And then they have just that little bit less Disney merchandise. Although I think that's kind of, maybe it's changed a little bit in the years.
And that's called Zawadi Marketplace.
Right.
It's just, we go to the Contemporary often. We like to eat at Contempo Cafe. Mm-hmm. It's this great quick service place to eat at. And in the Contemporary, they have 2 main shopping stores plus a separate store for grocery type items.
Right.
Whereas at Animal Kingdom Lodge, everything is inside of one store. So ironically, that one store might have the same square footage as the 3 stores
possibly
combined.
Right.
But because it's in one store, to me, it seems a little bit smaller, but still it's a nice little area to walk through and look around. Mm-hmm. But one of the best things that you can do at Animal Kingdom Lodge...
Eat.
Eat.
Yep.
If you want to go quick service, they have Mara.
Mm-hmm.
That's your traditional, can run in, go get your food, quick service area. But they also have Boma Flavors of Africa.
Go there for the breakfast buffet.
Yeah, we used to do that a lot. But then again, we used to stay there a lot, so it was a little more convenient.
But even with that, even when we didn't stay there, we used to eat there a lot. We just kind of, we don't eat at breakfast as much as we used to.
Well, and there's so many great restaurants and other places, depending on what our itinerary is. But Boma has always been a favorite. We did try dinner there once, and it wasn't bad.
Oh, it was good.
But it wasn't necessarily our favorite.
Right.
So we only did the dinner once. We experienced it. It was great that we tried it, but we do prefer the breakfast. Now, personally, because depending on my mood, if I'm trying to watch what I'm eating, that particular breakfast buffet I found really had the most choices. If you were doing low fat, they have low fat choices. If you're doing low carb, they have low carb choices. Oh, yeah. Of course, any Disney resort, any restaurant, you're going to find gluten-free. They are very allergen friendly. Right. They want to make sure that you're happy. So that's never an issue. But at Boma, they have the omelet station. They have a meat station. They have a cereal. They have the bread. So I found like there was really a lot of variety.
Yeah.
And I never had a problem, even if I was watching what I was eating. So that's one of the reasons that I really liked that. But they also have Chico, the cooking place.
Yep. Which is a signature dining restaurant.
And we did go there once. It was when our moms came to visit us. They came for, a night or two.
Right.
And they really enjoyed it, as did we. We haven't been back, though, because as I just said, there's so many different restaurants. But Chico also has bread service, I believe, such similar to Tiffin's inside of Animal Kingdom. And bread service is really popular, I find. People really like the different breads with the different sauces and stuff that go on it. So all really great restaurants. So if you go to Animal Kingdom Lodge and you have a chance to eat at one of those restaurants, I highly recommend you do so. But they also have 2 bars. They have Victoria Falls and they have Ozima Springs. Right. One of those is poolside. Yeah. But definitely try out the food if you get over there. So as we said, we did stay Labor Day weekend. And as we said, our room has not been upgraded. Right. And that was most evident because we didn't have any USB ports in the room.
Well, as the technical geeky person, it was also evident because the TV was small. It was still buried in the, you remember, we'll fire up the Wayback Machine. When we first started going to Disney, obviously the TVs were all tube TVs.
Well, yeah.
Right. So.
Yes, we're old.
And then as they updated them, but in Animal Kingdom Lodge, they had them in the nice little credenza like, so you could open the flap up or the door, fold them back, and there was a TV. Well, when they updated the room, they did one of these little mini renovations in the rooms, and they put a flat panel TV in there, but it was really small. It's still in that same credenza. They just put a little panel in front of it and took the doors off. So, but now, we've seen the new renovated rooms.
In the other resorts.
Where they have, the TV is ginormous and obviously the tile floors and all the other things that we notice different.
Well, and like I said, the USB ports, which in today's technological age, I can speak, I swear. With today's technological age, USB ports are really important because people use smartphones, they use smart devices, they plug in all these different things.
Well, we still have it in our we have a technology bag, of course, with all of our chargers and cables, and we have 2, of those USB charger thingies
stations
that have 4, 5, 6 USB ports on them, so we can charge our phones, our tablets, our smartwatches, our this, that, the other thing.
For us, it's not a big deal that they don't have the USB ports. I mean, it's not a deal breaker by any means, but it was nice when we went to the other resorts that had the upgrades that they do have them available, because it just made it that much easier.
Sure.
Because then we could put the phones right next to the bed and plug it in and have the other phones at the other side. So,
of course,
it's something little, but that's why we're saying that, we know the room that we stayed in hadn't been upgraded yet because it didn't have that. But it did have 2 queen beds, and it had a really spacious double sink and vanity area, and that was really nice.
Well, that is one of the benefits of staying at a deluxe resort is, each step you go up, you get, the room gets a little bigger, not a lot, but just a little. And that's one of the areas where you see that extra space is, it's in a separate area. It's not It's not part of the bathroom. It's 2 sinks. It's a spacious 2 sinks, you know, and then obviously the bathroom itself is not as cramped as other hotels.
And what I really liked, and I hope that this stays the same, but I don't know that it will, they still were giving us the small toiletries.
Right.
Instead of having the toiletries that adhered to the tub wall.
Right.
So that was nice that they had the small toiletries and everything. The toilet and the tub shower combination, those were separate.
Right.
You know, there was a door to that. But all in all, it was really, really nice staying there. It seemed to be relatively busy. You know, we did have to park relatively far away.
It was a holiday weekend, so.
Right, all things considered.
Yeah.
And many people already know that the Walt Disney World Resort has started charging parking for staying at, if you're staying at a resort, you now pay a parking fee,
Right.
which is typical for other resorts in the area. So
Sure.
it's not unheard of that they would start doing this.
Right.
And we did ask at check-in what the price difference was. And the way it was explained to us, if he understood us correctly, was that if you pay the nightly parking fee, that's fine. Or if you want a valet, you just pay the valet fee. You're not stacking the 2 fees. You're not paying a parking fee plus the valet fee. And it was only a couple extra dollars to valet.
Right.
But honestly, it wasn't the couple extra dollars that we were concerned about. It was just a little bit easier to just go get your own car, even if you have to walk a couple extra steps.
Well, that was one of the things that I remember from before at Animal Kingdom was you can call down to get your car, but if you don't remember to do that, or maybe your plans change, you're like, oh, we'll leave now. Sometimes it can take a little while for your car to get retrieved, especially if they're busy at the valet station. So it's probably, you know, considering how far we had to walk, we probably didn't really save anything, but you know, live and learn. But we were most concerned about, you know, were we going to have to pay whatever the $20, $24, whatever the parking fee was, plus the valet fee. That's what we were concerned about. So we were like, well, we don't want to risk paying $50 or $60 a night for parking.
Right.
So we decided to just self-park.
Right. But we had a really nice time. I'm really glad that, you know, even though it was last minute, as we said, I'm glad that we decided to go up there. It was a nice, relaxing weekend for the 2 of us. It was nice that we stayed Friday and Saturday night. Sunday afternoon, we left the Walt Disney World area relatively early.
Right.
Made a stop on the way home. But we still got home by whatever, you know, 7 or 8 on Sunday night. And then we still had Monday to sit at home and relax and not have too much to worry about. So it was a really nice weekend, and I'm really glad that we stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge since we haven't stayed there in so long.
Sure.
And if we were to get a really good rate, then I would definitely go there again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, as we've already spoken about in other podcasts, our favorite is Coronado.
Yep.
So when we go up there, more likely we will stay at Coronado, but we're open to trying different resorts. But you know what I'm open to? The Epcot International Food and Wine Festival.
Center.
Well, 2018, but specifically the Festival Center.
Right.
That's what we're going to focus about. We did have, if you want to hear about the festival in general, we did have a podcast where we talked a little bit about it. But now that we went this year, because we did end up going, as I said, Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, opening weekend.
Which was the opening weekend. So we have a little more insight into things that may or may not have changed, things that may be different, they may be the same. So in today's podcast, we're just going to kind of focus on the festival center, because even though it's just one building, there's actually a lot of different things that are offered there.
Well, that, and I think it's often missed thing. You know, out of everybody that goes to Food and Wine, you know, I bet only a fraction of the folks actually go to the festival center. Well,
here's my take on that. The Food and Wine Festival predominantly takes place in World Showcase.
Of course.
Or the approach to World Showcase, because they do have the kiosks at the beginning.
Right.
Which would be considered probably part of Future World.
Yeah, because they're over by Yeah.
As if you walk right into Epcot from the front of the park, that's Future World, correct?
Yeah.
That's the name of that area. So if you walk through Future World, you pass Spaceship Earth, and you go basically down a path, like a very wide walkway that has water on either side. That's basically what separates Future World from World Showcase. So at the end of that path on either side, or was it just on the one side? Either way.
Well, it's in that area behind where Club Cool is and where Starbucks is. So now they're starting to...
I wouldn't call it behind. I would call it beyond.
Well, yeah.
It's like beyond it because it's just before World Showcase.
Well, it is also in the building where Club Cool and Starbucks is and where there's a character meet and greet. They started opening that up. And then in this case, there was, I think there was some drinks in there. And then right behind that is, they start with the food kiosks.
Right.
And I think technically that is the start of...
Right. So, which is what my point is, that most people, they think, okay, I'm going to Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. I need to go to World Showcase because that's where the event is.
Right.
It's at Epcot, but it's at World Showcase.
Right.
The Festival Center is not a World Showcase.
Correct.
The Festival Center is in Future World right next to Mission to Mars. Or, even though it's now closed, if you're familiar with the area...
Ellen's Universe of Energy.
Right. Which is
Ellen's Ride.
Right. Which is no longer Ellen's Ride. It is being refurbished into Guardians of the Galaxy attraction. So that may be one reason why people skip that area.
Right. I don't think they realize what it is.
Right. Or it could be a misconception because that is the area where they predominantly sell the pass holder merchandise.
Right.
And if you're not a pass holder, you may think, well, I don't need to go to Festival Center. I'm not a pass holder.
Right. And part of that, in the past, they didn't have as much stuff in there. It was just like a merchandise location, mostly the pass holder stuff. And that's where they did the cooking demonstrations or the wine demonstration. Or they had 2 or 3 different, big setups for people to sit there and watch somebody cook food or whatever else. Whereas this year... that's changed a bit.
Well, what's really nice about the Festival Center is it's air conditioned.
Yep.
It's indoors.
Right.
And it does house a large number of people. I didn't look up what the capacity is, but it does house a good number of people inside of the Festival Center. So it's a really great place to accomplish a lot without having to be outside. If it's really hot or if the weather is inclement or whatever the case may be, it's a great place to go because there is really a lot to do there. One of the things you can do is you can purchase the mini size festival gift cards there. Right. Now, of course, you can purchase those throughout the park, throughout Epcot. And not only are they small cards, but they have little bands on them that you can wear them on your wrist. Yep. And that makes it really easy when you're going around to the different countries to try the different foods that they have. You can just give the little gift card. Well,
they scan it with their little scanner, so you don't have to take it off to swipe it, or you just kind of hold it up and they
And of course, if you are staying on Disney property, you will get the Magic Band is included in your stay, and you can always opt to have your Magic Band tied to a credit card, and then you can use your Magic Band if you prefer. But that's something that we have always opted not to do, because we're there so often, and personally, we just find it easier to track our purchases using Apple Pay or other safe methods of paying. However, when we go to the Food and Wine Festival, the Flower and Garden Festival, the art festival, in those cases, it is nice to have the little gift card, and then we just keep the receipts to see how much is on there.
When we first started doing it, it was a great way to budget, because you can go there and say, I'm only going to spend $20, $50, $100, and you put it on the gift card, and when you're done, you're done. And then you got your stuff and you're good to go. But that, the time saving is, them being able to just zap it with their scanning gun is really quick, as opposed to, I have to swipe my credit card or put my Magic Band in and then put my code in. And So there's a legitimate time savings, and it's a normal Disney gift card, obviously. So
Right. I mean, and the other benefit of using different gift cards is, let's say that you're a family of 4 or you're a family of 5, and you want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to spend a set amount of money instead of one person buying everything and spending all of your budget.
Right.
You can get everybody their own gift card.
Sure.
And then they can have their budget for how much they're allowed to spend. Right. Gift cards typically have a $15 minimum.
Right.
Which, especially for the festivals, that's a good amount, because you can typically get about 3 items, maybe more, maybe less, depending on what the items are.
Right.
But it seemed that the average price for the items that we purchased was probably right around $5.
Give or take. I mean,
yeah.
you could stretch it if you wanted to, or you could probably go a little over, but average is probably 5-ish.
I mean, we did have a slushy, alcoholic beverage.
Well, alcohol. You always brought up the point that the prices aren't nearly as bad as they seem. You're thinking you're just going to get a little thing for $5, but actually you're getting about what $5 worth of that food would cost you.
Right. Well, we had like a slider that was about $5, but if you go to Cosmic Rays in Magic Kingdom and you get a hamburger, I think we priced it out. It was either $12.99 or $14.99.
Well, yeah. Well, it's even worse now. I think burgers are up to like 18, 16.
So some places, yeah. So even though they're charging $5 and all you're getting is a little slider, or, maybe a slider and like some frou-frou stuff with it. But, it's a decent amount.
You got scallops at one place, and there was 2 scallops?
2 or 3 scallops, plus there was like a slaw that I didn't prefer, but if you did it was a decent
really amount of
added,
vegetable.
Yeah, it added to the
And that
food.
was only $5, which is, if you go to a restaurant, you're not going to spend that much more, or you're going to spend a lot more, and you're only going to get 5-6 scallops and whatever signs they give you. So and the same with the booze was, at one place I got a beer. It was only $4, but it was, it was about a 4-ounce glass. So, which isn't, it's expensive on the one hand, but for a Disney price, it's pretty normal. Like if you just went into the normal bar, you're going to spend $4 for 4 ounces of beer. So
So the gift cards are a great way for budgeting, and they do sell that in the Festival Center. But they have a lot of things, because they have a Festival Center wine shop.
Yep.
That you can purchase wine at. However, because you are not allowed to carry glass around the park, any wine that you purchase, they will have to do the free ship to the front of the store, or ship to the front of the park rather. But that's a free service provided by Disney at all of the parks. Whenever you purchase something, they can ship it to the front of the park for you. Mm-hmm. However, it could take 3 to 4 hours.
Right.
That's the downside of that.
And then obviously you can also get sent to your room if you didn't want to pick it up.
But there's also the Stock Pot Shop, and that's where you can get the pass holder merchandise, along with other various merchandise, Festival Center merchandise.
Well, they basically have all of the food and wine merchandise
if
there.
Not all of it, almost all of it.
Right.
They definitely have a very, very large selection of the merchandise. And of course, if you collect the Dooney & Bourke Disney purses, you could get that there. I do believe they had that at Mouse Gears.
They do some year. Lately, they've been having those at either Mouse Gears, and sometimes they have them at the International Gateway stores. We've seen them there.
Right. But typically they try and limit the Dooney bags.
Right.
And yes, because I purchased the Food and Wine Festival bag. I think it was last year's style. We were at the International Gateway, and I had really good placement, because if you collect Dooney purses, you will know placement is important. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure they are aesthetically pleasing.
Of course.
But yes, they did happen to have the crossbody bags at that store. Right. And yes, so they do have that sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah, I think it's just a question of how many they have and how popular they think it's going to be.
Right.
So if they made a lot of them, then they're probably going to put them in more stores. We've never seen them at like the outdoor kiosks or anything like that. They've always been in one of the stores.
But whenever the festival center is open, you can find the Doonies there.
Yep.
And most times you can find them in Mouse Gears because that's the largest store inside of Epcot.
Right.
And that, has a really large selection of merchandise.
Right.
They also, at Mouse Gears, they had the Pandora charms.
Right.
And I'm not saying they didn't have them, but I don't recall seeing the Pandora charms in the festival center.
I don't. Well, no, I saw it on the sheet.
Maybe they did have it behind the counter.
But they only had the one, obviously, because
right. They probably had the pass holder one because that's where you can get the pass holder merchandise. So you can definitely do a lot of shopping inside of the festival center. So if you want to purchase Food and Wine Festival merchandise, that's a great place to start at to go see everything that they have, especially because, as we said, it's in Future World. So you can kind of meander over there before you go to World Showcase and you can look through there. Right. Then you can walk around World Showcase. And you know what? If you walk through World Showcase and you didn't pick something up, or now that you've seen everything, you go, well, I really want this, then you can meander back over to the festival center on the way back out. So there is definitely a lot of shopping you can do there. But they also have some book and bottle signings and meet and greets inside of the festival center, because the festival center has different areas. It basically they're
well, it's kind of it's circular, and there's basically a theater. Well, there's two theaters in the middle. And they're small, just a few seats. This year they weren't using the rear theater. You were basically walking through to pick up the magnets. Well, that's the pass holder magnet we also were going to talk about in a second. Right. And then the front one is they just do a brief demonstration on what was it? Was it the coffee one, or was it? It's a pre-recorded movie. Okay. No, there might be 3 theaters then, or not theaters, but there's a stage, because you're talking about like in the center section. Yeah. Yeah. There is the festival center stage is in the center. Mm-hmm. And this year it's presented by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. And the way that it was described is: discover the incredible voyage coffee undergoes in order to arrive in your morning mug. Right. And you and I did not go to see any of those presentations. However, a few years back, we did a D23 event, the Sip and Stroll, and someone from Joffrey's did come and talk to us. And I remember them basically telling us the same story. I would assume it's very similar, because the story we saw was how they get from, coffee beans from the jungles to your coffee cup, and all the steps involved, and how they make light coffee versus dark roast versus medium roast versus. Right. And it was really interesting. So hopefully it's something similar that you can go in and check out. And they also, on select Sundays at 11 a.m., there is the Junior Chef Kitchen presented by Krusty's. And there you can make, decorate, and sample pancake creations. And that sounds like a lot of fun for the younger participants who tag along to Food and Wine. It's funny how Disney caters to adults for Food and Wine. Sure. But they always make sure to have things to keep the children engaged. Of course. Because they want to make sure that they're enjoying it and not, Mom, Dad, I don't want to be here. So that was something that I don't think they may have had it in previous years, but it looked new to me. But what they do have at pretty much every festival is the chocolate experience from Bean to Bar, hosted by Ghirardelli. Right. And what I love about that is free samples. Exactly. That's always kind of towards the back of the festival center. Right. It's in the bag, and it's been there that one's been there for basically forever. Right. We've always seen it whenever there was an event, they have that open. And that is definitely something to check out, because they have art creations made out of chocolate. Yep. And they're pretty elaborate. Oh yeah. They're beautiful. Yeah. And you look at this and you go, oh my God, that's made out of chocolate. Right. So definitely, if you go to the festival center, make sure you don't miss going to the Ghirardelli display. Yep. Get your free piece of chocolate. If you don't want to eat a piece of chocolate, that's fine too, because you can check out the chocolate
display.
Right.
And what,
And they also did, we didn't do it this year, but like last year they were offering little chocolate goodies beyond, because you can go in there and buy, Ghirardelli squares, but you remember last year you could buy a little shot glass of hot chocolate.
I did buy that last year.
You did, but we didn't stop this year, but last year they had that, and it wasn't like a normal hot chocolate. It tasted like just melted pure chocolate.
Yeah.
It was really sweet and rich,
and small, but you couldn't really eat
it was
more
good.
than that. Yeah, it was very good and very messy.
Yeah, that too.
But definitely check out Ghirardelli if you go there. But what looked new this year, or if it wasn't new, it might have been in another area we hadn't seen it, but they had artistic marbling, and you can make table runners, dinner napkins, bar towels, wine bags, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah, we'll have a picture up on social media of what it was, but they basically, and I think it was new this year because I don't remember it ever in anywhere else, but it was basically they have this kind of a trough, for lack of a better word, of water, and they put a design in it, and then you can dip a napkin in it or a table runner,
and you could pick your colors.
Yeah.
And I don't, well, it's called marbling apparently, but
Right.
when I was 4 in nursery school, I hand dipped some candles because you've seen them.
Yeah.
My mother puts them out every holiday. She never lights them,
Wow.
but she puts them out every holiday. And it looks similar to that. So if you ever dipped candles, it has that same flowy, watery.
Well, this is a process where they put a design in water, and then the water dissolves part of it. So you basically lay your whatever you want the design to be on into it. So, and then you pull it out and it has the design on it. You wait for it to dry, but they had some really elaborate designs there, and it was kind of fun to watch. They had a decent crowd around it. So,
And as you said, we'll put up the pictures if you want to see what we're trying to describe to you. We'll put up a couple of those pictures so you can actually look at it. They're very pretty. So that was something we noticed that was new. And what also was new is they had shimmering sips, the mimosa bar.
Yep.
And I know mimosas are really popular. Personally, I'm not a huge fan.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of champagne or orange juice, so it's not really my cup of tea, or cup of alcohol, I guess, in this case.
Or glass.
A glass of tea.
Either or.
Whatever. But they do have the mimosa bar. So I don't remember. I was talking to someone and I said, oh, yeah, they have a mimosa bar. And she's like, Mom, do you hear that? There's a mimosa bar. We have to go try that. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was people were excited. And it wasn't just because it was in the area in the past. There was a wine and cheese bar there.
Right.
And they changed it to this mimosa bar, which has, I'm trying to find the menu.
Lots of mimosas.
I think they had many different types of mimosas. It wasn't just orange juice. It might have been like grapefruit juice with champagne, or this kind of and that kind.
Right.
Along with the usual, like you could probably get strawberries or some other type of fruit.
Of course. So. Right. And if you're not into mimosas, maybe you like beer.
Craft beer.
So they have craft draft.
Yep.
Of course, it's very popular to go to the Food and Wine Festival and to drink around the world. That's something a lot of people like to do, to go to the different countries and try the different beers. This had different craft beers, but all in one place. Right. Instead of walking all of World Showcase, which is another benefit to going to the festival center. You can do a little less walking.
Well, this had some of the Florida craft beers. I don't remember the names of them, but they're all. So if you still want to get some German beer and some Belgian beer, you still got to do it. Take a hike, but the Florida craft beers were there. That what? Actually, thinking about it now, it was a lot of I think the mimosa bar, the craft beer bar, but those two used to be basically Odyssey Center.
That was the next thing I was going to say.
Right.
Yeah, the Odyssey Center is if you walk into the entrance of Epcot, past Spaceship Earth, basically kind of on the left of that pathway we were talking about that you would walk down to get to World Showcase. On the left, there's a building. You may or may not have noticed it before if you visit Epcot, and it's called the Odyssey Center.
Right.
We are familiar with it because, again, we went to a D23 event, Sip and Stroll, and they said, meet in the Odyssey Center. And we're like, what's the Odyssey Center? And that's how we found out that's the name of it. There also happen to be a few restrooms in that area, which is nice. There's restrooms inside of the Odyssey Center, which sometimes they're locked. You can't get to those. But on the back side of the Odyssey Center, the side that faces World Showcase, there are restrooms.
Right.
So a lot of people have probably been to the Odyssey Center because maybe they use that restroom coming in or out of World Showcase and didn't even realize it.
It's also a first aid and a baby station area.
On the back side of it, correct.
Right.
But yes, the Odyssey Center, it's kind of weird how sometimes they opt to use that building and other times they opt not to. But yes, this year, or at least the first weekend, who knows if they may or may not change it in future weeks. And we will be back, either end of September, beginning of October. I'm sure you and I will go back there and we can see if maybe they moved things into the Odyssey Center, if they said we're not going to open it this season. But yes, in the Odyssey Center, we've gotten the cronut dishes. They have the mini cronuts with the stuff on top of it, which I tried. Wasn't a huge fan, but I like to try new things.
Well, it was a weird, because it was like ham and cheese on a donut, which is kind of
well, a cronut, but yeah, a cronut is basically a donut.
Yeah, it's a
it's a fancy donut.
It's sweet and fried, but then you put ham and cheese on it, or one of them was like tuna fish, or it was just a weird combination.
But yes, that could be exactly why the Festival Center has a few more options in it. But the last thing at the Festival Center that we want to talk about, we may have missed one or two things, but the last thing we're really going to talk about is if you are a pass holder.
Right.
If you're an annual pass holder, as long as you're an annual pass holder, it doesn't really matter which pass you hold. You can get the magnet for free.
Right.
And I shouldn't even say it like that, because if you're not a pass holder, you cannot purchase that particular magnet. It is a pass holder magnet.
Right.
So that is one of the things they started doing within the past few years. I mean, they've always sent magnets that say, pass holder.
And in your Mickey Monitor, which is the magazine they sent, well, it's not a magazine, but it's a little pamphlet they send you once a month.
No, once a quarter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, once a quarter. And in one of them, there would be a magnet, a pass holder magnet.
Right. They'll send it to you as a pass holder, as a little appreciation gift. So what they started doing relatively recently is now they give out magnets at events.
Sure.
And you could go to the Festival Center, show your ID, show your pass, and you can get a magnet.
Right.
One per pass holder. And then I believe that you picked this up in that area also, but we haven't been 4 times yet.
Right.
This year, what they are doing is if you visit the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival 4 times, you can get a cutting board.
Oh.
So they've done in the past, other giveaways have included things such as glasses.
I remember, it was almost like a champagne flute kind of thing.
Yeah. And there were like 4 different ones, so you could go 4 different times and get the 4 different glasses. So they've definitely done different types of giveaways, but the magnets seem to be very popular.
Right.
Personally, I like putting our magnets on the fridge.
Yep.
Because unfortunately, I have seen magnets fade on the cars. You know, that they just don't really last. Unfortunately, sometimes, depending on what part of the country you're in. And another, unfortunately, because people suck sometimes, is people have stolen them.
Yeah.
So they just look really nice on the side of our fridge.
Sure.
We have a nice little collection going, They've given out other magnets they've given out at Hollywood Studios. They give out one with like little lights on it.
Right.
And they've given out
well, they've been much more popular lately with any kind of quote unquote special event.
Right.
I say that in quotes because a lot of times the event isn't really that special, but just call it an event.
Right. But it's a perk of being a pass holder, and it's nice that they give, something little like that. It is nice to get something
Sure.
back to so that you know that you feel appreciated. And again, that's something you can pick up inside of the festival center. So if you are going to the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, you should make sure to go to the festival center.
Yeah, I think so.
Check it out because there's a lot to do there.
Yeah, and it's there's a lot to do if you're a wine junkie, which a lot of people are these days. That you can't miss the wine shop because there's a lot of wine there. A lot of wine that you don't find at your local store because they bring in a lot of stuff that specifically for the festival. All the rest of the stuff there's a good amount of stuff to see.
Right, and I already mentioned that they do, even if you don't purchase the wine, all the parks offer free ship to the front of the park.
Right.
And that is whether you were staying on property or not.
Yep.
Because they want people to be able to enjoy their stay
Right.
at inside the parks. And they don't want people to feel like, oh my God, I have to schlep this bag
Right.
all over the park. So they do offer free package pickup, package delivery
Right.
to the front of the park. And you can do that. That's another benefit of going to the festival center first thing.
Sure.
Do your shopping, send it to the front of the park,
Yeah.
then go experience the festival.
Right.
And when you're done,
Walk around.
go pick it up on your way out.
Right. Because they say it's, I think they say 2 to 3 hours is what they say to plan for from the time that you buy it to the time that it's pick up. But really, we've always found it to be faster than that. We haven't used it a whole lot over the years, but when we have, it's not been that long.
Well, a lot of the times you and I will pay for convenience. I
Right.
mean, this time we went to the festival center first, as we recommend to people. And because we're relatively close to the front of the park, we invest in a locker and
Right.
just go put things in the locker. This way we don't have to carry it around. And we did get a locker this time. I am glad that we did that because even though we got very, very lucky with the weather,
Yeah.
we didn't really encounter too much rain, even though in general it was a rainy Florida weekend.
Right.
But we were able to avoid most of the rain. And so even though we didn't have that issue, World Showcase is a little bit busier than the rest of the park. There are a few more people, more chances to bump into others.
That's an understatement. There's a lot of people, especially on a weekend.
Right. The first
And a
weekend.
holiday.
And it was a Saturday. It was a holiday weekend. So it was nice not having the bags
Right.
to carry around. And do you remember, was the locker $10, $12?
We got a medium locker, which
Right.
we actually probably didn't need. We kind of default to medium, but
Right.
honestly, most of the time we could probably get away with the small. And I think the small is 7,
Right.
and then 12, and then they have a big one,
Right.
which is I don't know, 15 or 16 or something like
Right.
that. So
But it was worth that couple of dollars just to say, you know what? We can put our stuff here. It's safe. We don't have to worry about
right,
bringing it around, running into people, anything of that nature. So that's also an option. You know,
Sure.
inside of any of the 4 parks, they do have lockers available.
yep.
And we do tend to use those.
And a locker is good all day at every park for that day.
Well, it used to be.
No, it still is.
Oh, there was instructions on how to do
Yeah,
it.
there's instructions on the kiosk. If you've ever gotten a locker before, you used to have to go to the store. You pay your money. They gave you a key and told you which locker.
Right.
And then you went. And then if you went to another park, you could show them that receipt, and then
Right.
you could continue your locker rental. But now you go into the kiosk, swipe your credit card, they assign you a locker, and you put your own code in to get in and out of the locker. But there are instructions on the kiosk for, if you're coming back, if you're going to another park. So
Yeah, I was hoping they wouldn't take that away, but I wasn't sure when I noticed that they went
Right.
to the automated system versus the key system.
Right.
And I'm sure it benefits them having that in more ways than one. How many people lose keys on a daily basis when you have thousands of people?
I would hate to think about that.
You know what I should have done before we recorded? So I apologize to her in advance. I don't have the girl's name, but a little shout out to the girl that helped us inside of Mouse Gears.
Right.
And in a future podcast or on the website, because I have a receipt so I can look up her name.
Right.
We really should talk about this experience because
Sure.
you know exactly what I'm talking about. We were at Epcot in August.
Was that even the trip we were talking about?
Yeah, it was August.
Okay.
So it was a relatively recent trip.
Right.
And I did Disney bound.
Right.
because we talked about that. That was the trip that I Disney bound as a Martian, but I also Disney bound as Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
So the day that we were in Epcot, I was Disney bounding as Winnie the Pooh in my red shirt and my yellow skirt and the yellow Loungefly honeypot bag.
Right.
And there was this really, really sweet cast member who worked in Mouse Gears near the Pandora and Dooney display. And really, really sweet girl. And she noticed my outfit and she loved my outfit. And we were talking about the Disney bounding. And that was about the same time that they had released the Winnie the Pooh Dooney bags.
Right.
So we were talking about that. And I had told her, no, it's not really my style. You know,
right.
I'm sure if people love Winnie the Pooh, that's great. I'm like, I made this outfit because it was easy and it was cute. But, you know, I'm not in love with Winnie the Pooh. You know, that bag just wasn't anything special to me.
Right.
So she was really sweet then in August when we saw her. So forward to Labor Day weekend. Now we're there. Or it might have been the end of July, you know, end of July, beginning of August. And now this is the end of August, beginning of September. So it was about a month later. Now we're there, Labor Day weekend. We're inside of Mouse Gears. And I opted to purchase the pass holder Pandora charm because that's another collection of mine. So the woman helped us and said, I'll bring it to the register. Someone will bring you up. And the girl that came to ring us up was this same sweet girl, cast member. Not only was she sweet, that's not the only reason I wanted to do the shout out to her and, you know, the thank you. But I look at her and I said, you know, I think you helped us the last time.
Right.
And do you know that she remembered us? Because she looks at me, she goes, yeah, I think I did. You were bounding as Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
And that was just so impressive because it was easy for us to remember her.
Right.
We don't come across too many people, but they literally come across hundreds, if not thousands of people per day.
Yep.
Seeing all these different faces because how many people go into the parks? And she remembered that. And then I said something about Winnie the Pooh and she goes, oh, did you get it? Like she even remembered that we were talking about the Dooney bag. And I was just, things like that, experience that magic is one of the reasons that we're always going to Disney parks.
Sure.
It's cast members like her. Really, really fantastic. Really, really sweet girl. I wish her the best. And I will look for the receipt with her name on it because I really do want to post that. You know, we need to write to Disney because that's the best thing you can do. If you have a good experience, write to Disney and tell them.
Or just, you know, go, you know, if you have a good, you know, a magical experience, as they say, when you're walking out of the park, stop at guest services and you can say, you know, so-and-so made my day. Right. And they will hand you a little form and you can fill out and put their name and what you did. Because that really helps the cast member as well. You know, a lot of their, you know, their job performance, they get rated job performance wise, you know, by the normal methods, by their boss and, you know, the blah, blah, blah back end stuff. But guest interactions and obviously complaints
Right.
and
But compliments.
Compliments do play a large part in their performance. So, you know, definitely if you come across somebody that's made your day, let them know.
Right. And that really did make my day because I thought it was really special that she remembered us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't like a fake remember either. I mean, because she was the one that looked at me and said, yeah, you were Disney bounding. I'm like,
right.
You're right. I was. She remembered I was Disney bounding. She remembered I was bounding as Pooh. So, I mean, this was, she truly remembered us. And that really was a special experience.
Those aren't the kind of things you can guess.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was really, really sweet that she took the time to remember that. And it's cast members like her that really make it worthwhile. But you know what's worthwhile now?
Well, probably you getting some dinner.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I think so.
I haven't eaten.
Yep.
I'm hungry. So I'm going to say good night so I can go eat dinner.
Well, what about good morning?
Well, yeah, some people might be listening in the morning and then I'll say good morning to them.
Okay.
I could say good afternoon.
How about goodbye?
That would probably be better.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But
before we say goodbye, we should say subscribe.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You should definitely subscribe if you haven't already.
See, I'm so hungry. I couldn't remember to tell them that.
Well, that's important.
Sorry.
They need to subscribe. They need to rate us, send us comments.
Follow us, subscribe to us, rate us, all that fun stuff. TwoGrownUpsAndAMouse.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yeah, that's right.
We'd love to hear from you.
So,
I'd love to go eat something.
Exactly. So on that note, goodbye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.